Hi, hello. Welcome to another episode of Isaiah's Newsstand. It's your host, Isaiah Edwards. The date is March the 30th, 2024. Hopefully, this episode finds you well, in good spirits, and high hopes. As for me, I'm doing pretty good. Today has been pretty productive so far. Let's see, I did some laundry, so you know what that means. I got some donuts. I got the sticky bun. I got the raspberry storm, but this time, since it was Easter version, instead of the swirl, they had a little bunny on it, so that was cute. And then I had a chocolate iced donut with sprinkles. And I gotta say, I had this like moment where I realized, because I've been eating, I've been eating these things for a while, and like with these, they have like this like kind of like chalky kind of flavoring with it. I don't know if it's because of the sprinkles or not, but I realized, because I watch the Great British Bake Off sometimes, that there's a word that finally hit for me that I could use, and I'm like, these are stodgy. These are a bit stodgy, and I felt good about that. So that was kind of worth it for the experience. But for my meal Friday, what did I have Friday? Could you guess? It was pizza. Pizza Friday. Hooray for pizza day. Keeping it on track. Let's see. I had really like two really good pizzas that I kind of was just like, I think this is gonna be the jackpot. I think all my experimenting is really coming to something, and I got a one medium pizza that had salami, it had banana peppers, it had spinach and onions, and in the sauce was marinara. And the idea here was, I was like, I want this pizza to almost be like a sandwich pizza. And sure enough, it hit like that. So like I was able to like do some weird shit with it, where like I added a little bit of Italian dressing on like a slice. I added like a thing of mustard. I know, crazy. We had some olive oil throughout like all of it. It was so yummy. I really enjoyed this pizza. I don't know why I'm making such hay about it, but it really hit. And then the other pizza I got was a Philly steak and pepper, like green pepper, pizza with the barbecue base, and it was also fuego. So yeah, I'm very pleasantly full. I'm happy. So yeah, let's see. There's that. What else? Weather's been a little bit nicer. Feels like we're finally getting that. Excuse me. That spring weather, which feels good. Went on a little walkie poo the other day, so that was cool. That was nice. But yeah, feel like we're all and I finally got some pillowcases. Ironically enough, excuse me, I was gonna go to Walmart to get some, and instead of going there, because I drove to the parking lot and they're literally closed, like they just went belly up. I'm like, how? Of course. A little bit of side news. Also, I think hundreds of people have gotten fired from Family Dollar in Ohio, because Family Dollars are they're consolidating. We talked about that, but yeah, I mean, it was a bummer. So I was a little bit in the lurch, and I was like, you know what's gonna happen here? I got to go back to Meyer. So I went back to Meyer, and sure enough, 2 weeks later, they actually have a pillowcase selection. I was like, you motherfuckers. You motherfuckers are playing me left and right, front and center. The last time I came here, you only had travel pillowcases that couldn't fit shit, and then body pillows for what? I'm not that degenerate. I don't need a body pillow, okay? I'm not that far down. Anyway, they actually had what I needed at an affordable price. Got a couple of pillowcases, so we're good to go. We're all right. Our home decor is evolving. We're getting better. Sure enough, one day I guarantee you, I hope I'm gonna have a bed frame and I'm gonna have a nice new bed. I tell you what, but not today, not this day. Okay, enough of me gabbing about myself. Let me go ahead and cue up my little startup, and then we'll get into some news. Ooh. Okay, we're back from In Touch, which I'm not sure what In Touch is about, if they're like rag, news or not. But hey, we'll take it. At the end of the day, this is, I don't even want to say it's big news, but it's interesting news. I feel like a lot of the news I have today is that. But from In Touch, King Charles, old sausage fingers, King Charles' funeral plans unveiled after monarch is given 2 years to live with pancreatic cancer. King Charles III has only been Britain's reigning monarch for 18 months, yet his funeral plans are already set amid his battle with pancreatic cancer. Named Operation Menai Bridge, the monarch's funeral processions will look similar to Queen Elizabeth II's ceremonies, dubbed Operation London Bridge. As his cancer progresses, royal insiders tell In Touch that Charles' final resting plans are of a timely prioritization. Now, I don't know. I'm very curious here if they are using the anonymity here when it comes to the royal insiders to kind of sensationalize a little bit. I know I shouldn't accuse a journalist outlet of doing such things, but I sometimes wonder because they make these guys sound so peasant-like. Like, yes, I know all the secrets. I know exactly what they're doing behind the closed doors. Yeah, well... Who's ascending to the throne? Who thinks who is worthy? I don't know. It just seems a little bit highfalutin, but I mean, hey, I'm sure these motherfuckers have nothing better to do than to talk shit. And of course, if you're there literally like, puffing their stuffs or whatever, of course you're going to like collect these little secrets like baubles and tell some, ruddy journalist. I don't know. Anyway, that being said, I'm here to talk about his butt cancer. I wanted to know, and now we know. I mean, at least I can say that we know, according to this. It's crazy to me that like they literally wanted to hide that fact that like, hey, he has cancer, but we're not saying it's butt cancer, okay? It's not prostate cancer. We're not gonna say that. And it's like, but if it is, it is. It's gonna come to light, right? Like, why be weird about that fact? Like, oh, respect his privacy. He's the king, dude. Anyway, the update comes shortly after a separate high-ranking royal insider told In Touch that Charles is not only battling pancreatic cancer, a timely update that he did not share what kind of cancer he was diagnosed with, but has a mere 2 years to live. So, I mean, obviously, for just a life perspective, that sucks to know, hey, you only got, X amount of time to live. That's a bummer. But hey, I mean, if it is something fatal and, you can't do anything about it, it's this stage and it's too malignant, it's too bad, 2 years is a good amount of time. Obviously, it's a bit anticlimactic, sad, prophetic. I don't know, where it's like, hey, I finally get to this fucking spot, and now I only get to like have it for like less than 2 years. Maybe he beats the fucking odds. Maybe he's like his mom and stays for longer than he needs to. But whatever. Here we are. Let's see. I did want to kind of read a little bit of the intrigue here. King Charles is much sicker than the palace lets on and simply isn't up to the job of running his fractious family, the crown's business interests, and fulfilling the daily duties of the monarch. Yeah, you got to cut all these ribbons, wave at all these babies and stuff, wear all this fucking crazy jewelry. Let's see. The member of the royals' inner circle revealed in early March, his cancer is eating him alive. He's very frail. The situation is desperate. It's so desperate. What are they going to do? Just really kind of talking about how, like, everyone's in shambles with Kate Middleton having cancer as well. Prince William is, like, up in the air. We don't know what he's doing. Is he having affairs? Is he tending to his wife? What's going on? Excuse me. Apparently, King Charles's sister, Princess Anne, is having to do a lot of work. Apparently, Queen Camilla, she is having to do a lot of work, but she's apparently shirking off responsibilities, being a rotten old shrew. Hey, I'm kind of paraphrasing from, the insiders here, okay? Granted, I'm also not a big fan of Queen Camilla. I would definitely say I'm Team Diana if I was going to pick anybody, but whatever. It doesn't really matter. Neither here nor there now. But yeah, I mean, hey, I wanted to talk about some palace intrigue, if you will. But, from that royalty, let's talk about some American royals, Let's talk about Big Daddy Trump. From The Guardian, Trump rebuked for sharing video showing Biden hogtied on pickup truck. Oh my, the scandal, the row. It really is campaign season. You really can just feel it. Donald Trump drew an angry response from the Joe Biden White House as well as other opponents after he posted a video containing the image of the president hogtied on the tailgate of a passing pickup truck. The Biden campaign communications director, Michael Tyler, said the provocative image of the truck festooned with Trump 24 insignia on Friday night could be constructed as suggesting physical harm toward the former president's political rival. So I was curious enough and wanted to say at least I did some of my due diligence on an episode. You know, every once in a while I do try. So I looked it up. I was able to find it, and like it's so funny too because the image is like queued up with like this like this dark. I don't know if this is how Trump posted it or not, but like it has like this like dark like kind of sound scoring with it, and it's like this big pickup truck. And, you know, it's got a bunch of, Trump 2024. It's got the Blue Lives Flag Matters going on there. It's got like, 3 or 4. That's the usual accoutrement. But then you see on the truck bed, like where you you pull the thing open, the little flappy. You got this like almost like Fat Daddy style, like, graphic that is stickered on here, like maybe wrapped on, I don't know, where it's Joe Biden hogtied, like kind of almost fetal, just there. To me, it's very corny, but I'm a bit desensitized to it. I'm a Midwestern guy. I live in Ohio. I know how this shit goes. When the hogs get real feral, they're just like, let's hop on the pickup, brother. Let's hit I-75 and let's just keep driving. Let's just never stop. Let's let the world know how much we love Trump. So to me, I'm just like, did you guys go? Once again, did you guys go to Fat Daddy for this? Like, what kind of custom job do they do those? Or did you go to did you shop local for this? I'm very curious. But it's not that serious. Like, I wouldn't make personal hay of this, but then also it is weird and cringe that Donald Trump is like, oh, I think that's cool, and like posts it probably on Truth or whatever, and people are going ballistic about it. I don't know. I get how this is news, but at the end of the day, it is one of those nothing burgers that every once in a while I just sit down to eat, and I gotta mukbang it for you, and we gotta chop it up a little bit. Of course, there's a little bit of back and forth from, one person, Biden's side and, Trump's side or whatever. I really don't care that much about it to really get in the weeds. But we will talk about, let's see, Biden had a little fundraiser. They mentioned that. It's worth, I guess, talking about. He raised $25 million. So there you go. He brought out Jesus Christ, Bill Clinton is not looking great right now. He's definitely showing his age. I don't know if he could even play the sax right now. Barack Obama is also out there, not pumping any podcasts or any, new Netflix shows. But hey, he's doing his due diligence as a Democrat. Good for him. Let's see here. Trump went to a New York cop's funeral. Jonathan Diller, who was shot to death during a traffic stop. He called it a horrible thing, terrible thing. Police are the greatest people we have. Even though, if they're January 6th cops, fuck them, let them rot, right? I mean, according to him and his people. But yeah, it is what it is. These things are happening. I'm here to yap about them. I really wanted to not do any more violent stuff, at least take a day off. But let's just say we'll hold the guns. How about that? But it's still pretty bad, but we gotta talk about it. From the Associated Press, 4 people killed and 7 wounded in stabbings in northern Illinois with a suspect in custody. 4 people were killed and 7 were hurt when a man went on a stabbing rampage Wednesday across multiple locations in a northern Illinois community, authorities said. A 22-year-old man in police custody was being questioned, according to Rockford Police Chief Carla Reed. She said one of the people who was wounded remained in critical condition. She said the Rockford police received a medical call around 1:14, followed by additional calls for police and paramedics. Let's see here. Not all of the victims found at multiple addresses in the city had stab wounds, and none were shot, according to Reed. So it's crazy that he took this shit kind of on the road, I guess. But Rockford police initially said 5 people had been injured. Corey Hillard, a public information officer with the Winnebago County Sheriff's Office, told the Associated Press Wednesday evening that 2 more victims were among those hurt. 3 people died at the scenes. The 4th died at a hospital. Police identified those victims as a 15-year-old girl, a 63-year-old woman, a 49-year-old man, and a 22-year-old man. Their names were not released. Reed said that the residents in the area were being asked to review their home surveillance camera footage for anything related to their deaths. Let me see. I wanted to read a quote that kind of was like a bit chilling, but kind of set the mood in a way, just kind of like the vibe in America when these things kind of happen, right? You can't rationalize this, which is from Eric Patterson, a resident. Told the Rockford Register Star. It's almost like playing a video game, but it's reality. It makes no sense. It's like Grand Theft Auto. I'm going to run over the mailman here. I'm going to stab a couple of people there. I'm going to go into this house over here. Just kind of attesting to like kind of the situation, how like it just felt so random and there was no reason or rhyme to it. But like here we are, like people are like fighting and running for their lives, like hearing of like a good Samaritan who literally saves someone who's running away from this guy and then winds up getting like stab wounds too. Like it is crazy, it is surreal, and it does suck too, and it's jarring because though I understand, and you know, I still think that like yes, it's better to have, you know, better gun laws, and I would rather live in a world where it's like, yeah, we see more knife crime and more people in that situation. Obviously, it sucks, I'm not rooting for that, but like if it's either or, I think that that's a lesser evil to deal with. But that being said, you have these kind of moments and they're very jarring, and it's like, well, you know, the whole good guy with the gun thing, you know, that can come up into your head, right? I don't know. That being said, I mean, I still think my stances are more or less the same at the end of the day. No matter how you slice it, no pun intended, that all my puns are intended, fuck it. But you know, it's a shame, it's a crime, and it's sad as hell. I can't imagine shifting into this mode and then next thing you know, you're in a cop car, you know, like, yeah, you did that, like you killed people. Like it's surreal and it's really scary, it's really sad. But yeah, you know, like I said, I did want to cover that, wanted to get that in here, you know, didn't want to let that linger, be forgotten. But let's go ahead and move on from stabbings to scammers. And technically, this is where we're really going to wrap it up. Technically, we're doing two here, but I'm really bundling it up. It's Florida related. It's Florida stuff. But yeah, let me go ahead and do my last break, and then we'll go ahead and call this shit. Ooh. Even if I left Florida, far enough, wasn't far enough. Ooh. Okay. From WFTV 9. Ooh. Okay. Orlando City Commissioner Regina Hill arrested on elderly exploitation fraud charges. Hill, who represents District 5, surrendered herself at FDLE Orlando's. Actually, no, let me read up. Sorry. Orlando City Commissioner Regina Hill, 58, was arrested Thursday morning on elderly exploitation and fraud charges, the Florida Department of Law Enforcement said. Hill, who represents District 5, surrendered herself at FDLE's Orlando Regional Operations Center near downtown Orlando on Thursday morning. Agents said they then took her to the Orange County Jail, where she was booked at 9:45 on charges including exploitation of the elderly, fraud, mortgage fraud, and a scheme to defraud. During her booking, Hill refused to provide personal information, including her current address, jail officials said. Which I feel like is there's like probably extra to that. I don't know if she's just doing that to like be, you know, obtrusive to, you know, this case against her, or if it's because of like her having multiple addresses and she doesn't want to out herself for political reasons there. That's, you know, just something I wanted to like kind of make note of. She faced a judge at about 1 p.m. Thursday. During that hearing, she pleaded not guilty to all charges, and the judge granted her a $40,000 bond. Let me see here. Let's go ahead and click that read more button. Hill's accused of exploiting a 96-year-old constituent. FDLE agents said Hill used falsified documents to gain power of attorney over the woman, to purchase a home, to attain loans to renovate that home, and spend more than $100,000 of the woman's money on luxuries, including a facelift, perfume, and dental surgery. Excuse me. Agents also said that while Hill spent that money to renovate the home she was staying in rent free outside of her district, Hill's own home remained in a dilapidated state. So she's really running the jewels here. It's a real shame. I do think that the community has, rallied around and, they're taking donations and like supporting this elderly person. I don't know exactly how she was scammed, but it seems that like she just didn't even know how bad it was, like when all this kind of came to light. So it's really unfortunate to see someone who's elected official, government official, they're taking advantage of their own constituent here and just running them up. You know what I mean? It's really the worst kind of scams that I can cover. You know what I mean? That's why I do want to say, like, yeah, this is kind of like a bit in the weeds. Who gives a shit? It's like Florida local crime or whatever. But, like, it's important. I want to fucking put a spotlight on people like this and fucking throw tomatoes at these people. Like, definitely, for sure. In my tomato town, we're going to have people like this, okay? This is my arc to build Tomato Town. That's my end game. Oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no. But yeah, I just wanted to highlight this motherfucker. Boo! Fuck you! Fuck you! Fuck you! Let me talk about this person though. I did find that quote. Attorneys for the victims provided Channel 9 with the following statement: on behalf of the victim, Miss Alexander, the attorneys involved and county legal services, we wanted to express our gratitude for the offers from the community to support the victims' legal and personal needs during this challenging time. It is comforting to know that there are so many people who truly care about the victims' well-being and the well-being of seniors. We would direct any offers of support to be emailed to supportamc@clsmf.org. CLS will direct them to appropriate channels. CLS is a 501c3 and does not charge clients for legal services. So yeah. Boo this woman. Boo her bad hair choices. Her crazy ass outfits. Fuck Regina Hill. We're not on her team. We're not on side. Anyway, she's not valid, mate. Anyway, there's another half of this Florida story that I kind of wanted to cover before we go. Kind of just want to hit full riff mode. USA Today. Florida's latest state to target squatters' rights after DeSantis signs property rights law. Like I said before, DeSantis is definitely circling his wagons back at home. He's got to put that crown back on, let everybody know he's number one. Florida's Governor Ron DeSantis signed into law Wednesday the property rights bill, which aims to help homeowners remove squatters' rights more quickly. Now, I'd heard a bit on Start Here. They kind of gave a little bit of a breakdown, and they gave some highlighted stories. But to me, in some ways, this is kind of spin, because at the end of the day, yeah, you could tell me about, oh, I inherited this home from my mom or my dad, like, family member, and now I come into this situation, like, if it's, like, New York or whatever, and it's like, hey, this person is, like, exploiting this 30 days squatters' rights law, and now I have to go through this whole legal channel rigmarole. And then there are situations in Florida where it's like, hey, I am, trying to flip this home that I have. I own it. And next thing you know, this whole family has moved in and they're claiming it's their home. And now, I'm back here, even with, video documentation that I'm not doing anything. I'm not being violent. I'm not being crazy. The cops are saying, hey, don't come back here. We'll arrest you. Like, I get it. That's fucked up. That's sad. But at the end of the day, these squatters' rights laws are put into place so that you don't have like the dystopian situation that we had back in 2020, where you have these landlords chomping at the bit to like kick people out and just say, who gives a shit, man? Like, you're late on your shit. And it's like, well, I'm sorry. I was in a fucking pandemic. I didn't have the fucking money to make that happen. I don't care. And like, yeah, in those kind of moments, I don't really want the law to be on the rat king landlord side. I'm sorry. That's my personal fucking, vibe on that situation. So yeah, you can cherry pick some stories and try to make me feel a way about it, but I personally am unfazed. And I think this is kind of bullshit. I think also DeSantis is kind of doing this for points because, You can see in New York this is an issue. You can see that this is there's stories in, like, I think California, and once again in Florida. So he gets points for this, and it makes sense to do on the whole. You know what I mean? He made up with Disney. We talked about that as well. So yeah, I mean, that's kind of my 2 cents on that. I'm sure I even have some listeners in the audience that go, Isaiah, I actually kind of disagree with you here. I think this is good. I think this is an all on the up thing. I think it's designed to sound that way for sure, of course. You know what I mean? But once again, you've never been that quote unquote down bad squatter, you know? So there's that. And once again, you can show me the scammers, and there's definitely some interesting stories. I heard a guy, apparently he like has a YouTube channel, and he goes in and is like, hey, I'm gonna be moving in my team here, and we're gonna like start a reality show, and you're just gonna be here. I know you don't have documentation. I have documentation. I am supposed to be here. So yeah, I mean, you're gonna enjoy the ride or not. I don't care, man. Here we go. And cool for him, man. I'm glad he's making a fucking, content out of this shit. That's all we can do in this goddamn society. But once again, it doesn't sway me at the end of the day. I think there's something spooky ooky and not good about it. So I'm still gonna continue to boo this goddamn man and his high heeled boots. You should have never run, you stupid ass meatball. You're a goddamn loser. Now we all know it. Anyway, that's it. That's all I have. If you'd like to help out, support the effort, I have a Patreon. Patreon.com/Isaiah News. Come in newsy today. Shout you out at the top of the month. Let's see here. Free ways to hit me up, IsaiahNews1@gmail.com. And then if you'd like to follow me or the podcast on any of the socials, you can. That's for free. And also for free, you can subscribe to the YouTube. Keep up with the Joneses. Keep up with me and my new episodes. Let's see. Also, you can follow on the Spotify or the Apple Music, whatever you're listening on. But leave a like, leave a cool comment. Sharing is caring. And hopefully I see you soon for some more good news. I love ya. Bye-bye. Mwah.